Hi there, welcome to Krista Maravilla's channel. And today we're talking about, or I'm talking about, uncovering your integrity. Do you know what I mean by your integrity or what personal integrity is? One of the first things I'll do then is to explain, just in case you don't know, that personal integrity, my definition of it, is when we say we're going to do something, we do it. It's really simple. And this personal integrity really goes not to others, but it's all on us. So if we say we're going to get up in the morning at a certain time, we get up. Or if we want to go to the gym, we go to the gym. Now, why is personal integrity so important? Well, I'll actually give you 5 signs of what happens when we are not in integrity with ourselves. And I will, when I'm done with that, we'll talk about why it is so disastrous when we aren't in alignment with this. So one of the signs of us not being in integrity is that we break promises to ourselves, but also to other people. We procrastinate. We find ourselves maybe saying some white lies or are slightly deceitful. We begin ignoring our values, which might mean that we value honesty, but yet we find ourselves not being honest. And very specifically, not being honest to ourselves. And then self-neglect. So we're often maybe taking on too much and not following where we need to say no. And then we're burning out. We're not refilling our cup. We are becoming empty. And so that's why personal integrity is so important to really commit to or think about when we are, or when but I highly recommend that you are in our journeys. And for me, it changed everything. When I decided to live in a space of integrity with myself, that meant whatever I said, I did. It also meant that whenever I made the choice to say something out loud, like especially in the beginning days of my wandering, and for some of you might not know, I'm a wanderer. If you check out my website, you'll see a whole map of me going throughout the US, wandering about like a little leaf in the wind. And some of those times I spent months and months and months in areas, and others might have been driving by through and just exploring for a day or two, or just that. But mostly when I decided that I would go places, I made the deliberate intention to tell people, hey, I'm going to go live in Spain, which is where I am now. And that meant that I was not only accountable to the decision, my integrity to myself, but it also made it really real when I said it to others. And it was really interesting because when I began to say this to others, not a lot of people believed me. And to be honest, I might not have believed it in myself. But as I continued moving onward and building my own trust by doing the things that I said I would do, things changed. So for example, for example, I built trust within myself. I built credibility within myself, but also with others, because they knew that what I said I would do, I did. It helped me boost my self-esteem because I felt amazing when I got to do or travel the world. But this doesn't have to be as big as that. I'm just using a really big example of wandering because it took a lot of bravery to do that in the beginning. But the reality is this could just be about going to the gym every day and how amazing you feel by going to the gym every day, and how your body is starting to change and how you mentally start to change. It fosters accountability, not just with yourself, but with others again. And when you know that what you say is what you're going to do, it helps you start to discern what you actually want to do versus what other people are trying, or well, maybe not what other people are trying, but instead of just pleasing everybody, you begin to please yourself by figuring out what it is that you like. And that is super integral to your well-being. Saying no, and again, only doing things that are in alignment with how you feel and what you really want to do. Then there's so that improves, even though sometimes it might feel as though it's counter, because people will give kickback when they're used to, you just saying yes to everything. But it will improve relationships because you are being true to yourself, and you just hold strong to those boundaries of you. It will help you achieve your goals. So if going to the gym every day is a goal, or like me, wandering the world, which, side note, has its place. Sometimes I like to wander, and sometimes I think it's good to be, settled for a little bit of time. Then you're building momentum towards that goal. You're doing it. You become more comfortable with time management because now you're doing the things that you need to do for you, that you've decided are for you, and therefore you have more time to manage in your space. It will reduce your stress. Why? Because when you're not doing something that you don't want to do, you can feel more at ease just in general. And then another, and the final one that I'll say in terms of kind of leaning into our integrity, is that it promotes a sense of peace. And so you can, if you're suffering from anxiety, or if you're suffering from just feeling overwhelmed, just starting to take those slow, small steps of saying no, and of managing your time differently, and of doing activities that you actually choose to do, it reduces, it changes the game. It changes the game. And then you get to start to consider how you want to rewrite your story, what you want in your life to be your life, really. And a lot of us, especially in the beginning of our evolution in self-growth and personal development, might not think that we have the control to create our own lives. We might really be attached because our situations are pretty deep. I'm not saying a situation isn't, but attached to the situations that we're in, instead of kind of pulling back into us and saying, oh, wait, I do have the power. I have the power to choose what I want to do when I can. I mean, if you're responsible for children or animals, you're responsible for that. Doesn't change. But doing the right thing for you within those boundaries is important. There's a really great book by Martha Beck. It's called The Way of Integrity. And I read it last year. And it was such a beautifully written book that clearly goes through all of the beautiful ways in which integrity changes lives. Now, I've already mentioned that it's changed my life, because what I was before 2014 to what I am now is not just a 2.0 version, I say like a 5.0 version, because everything is different. And it continues to be different because we're never going to be stagnant. Well, I mean, you can choose to be stagnant, but I don't, because that just means I'm not growing, and I don't like the feeling of not growing. But so personal identity, what can you do today to uncover yours? Are you struggling with seeing where you're being honest with yourself and not? Kind of like what lies do we tell ourselves that we're not aware we're telling, that are holding you back? Those are like, what kind of, if you need help excavating your thoughts to get into a place of integrity, or are you scared of being in a space of integrity, because that means that you have the power to change your life, and that sense is scary. So take a moment to peek into those underlying beliefs if you're hesitant to dive into committing yourself to being integral. And if you need any help, DM me or email me. Really, email me, and I can see where I can help guide you to finding the right answer for what your questions may be. Until then, be well and stay marvelous.